When you're undergoing an external audit, it's important that the auditor be able to see all of the information that they need to see to perform the audit. But it's also important to restrict the auditor to only that information. For example, you may need to restrict the auditor's access to a specific time frame or redact your business partner ID data during the audit. This video shows you how to do these things. We're going to look at this in sequence. First, we'll have a look at the data redaction feature. Part of this is the necessary setup of your external auditor role, so we'll see the part that is relevant for this section here, and then we'll have a look at some entries in the audit journal to show you the differences between the standard audit journal and the audit journal as viewed by the auditor with the data redaction enabled. Second, we'll have a look at the necessary setup for the timeframe restriction, and we'll again have a before and after look at our audit journal to see the differences. For the data redaction and timeframe restriction to function properly, you have to configure your external auditor users as shown here. To make it easier, we've added bookmarks to this video to take you to the timestamps where the configuration steps are shown. You can follow this link whenever it appears on the screen to see either the redaction or the timeframe restrictions, respectively. Let's do the data redaction scenario first. Here, I'm logged in as the Business Partner Master Specialist, and I'll open the Maintain Business Partner Master Data app. I'll search for one of my GL accountants, then I can expand this item and have a look at the roles assigned to this user. This user has the Employee Business role. Let's make a note of that, and then let's log in as the GL accountant and have a look at our audit journal. I'll enter the mandatory information, company code, fiscal year, and ledger, and select Go. Let's go ahead and switch to the journal view for the demo, and we'll expand this posting date. Here are 3 journal entries on this date. Now, as we see here, each journal entry number is a link that I can use to navigate to this journal entry item in the Manage Journal Entries app. Let's look at something else. Let's use the settings to add the customer column to our results table. If we do that, we see customer ID numbers reflected here, but there are times when you are obligated to protect this data, even during an audit. This is where the data redaction feature comes in. Now let's see how this looks for the external auditor when the data redaction is enabled. I'll search for an external auditor and look at the roles. And here's the difference. Where the GL accountant had only 1 role assigned, the auditor has 2. In this second one, the external tax auditor role makes the difference. It's very easy to assign this role to your external auditor users. Simply log in as the Business Partner Master Specialist, open the Maintain Business Partner app, and search by role and number. Now, if I want to add this role to my account manager here, I would select External Tax Auditor from this drop-down and then save my changes. Here's how the drop-down looks when this role is assigned properly. You can see that in the second version, one of my external auditor users, the role is set as defined, meaning it has been assigned to this user. Now let's go back to my audit journal and look at the differences. I'll open the same set of information, and look here. Here are our 3 journal entries that we saw earlier. But this time, none of the journal entry numbers are links, so I can't navigate to manage journal entries if I'm the external auditor. In fact, all of the links to other apps are disabled, so you can allow your auditors to see what they need to see while preventing them from seeing what they don't need to see. And let's highlight the other important difference here. Let's add the customer column in here and have a look. It's empty. Your business partner ID information is redacted and hidden from the auditor, exactly as it should be. One quick note here. The information that's hidden is app dependent and defined by that app's business purpose. In the audit journal, as we've seen, customer ID information is hidden and links to other apps are disabled. In other apps, the data redaction will hide or restrict other information, such as attachments. So now that we've seen the data redaction feature, let's have a look at the timeframe restriction. Here's where we start. I've logged in as the administrator, and I'll open the Maintain Business Roles app. I'll search for the external auditor role. Here it is. And then I'll copy it. Now here's an important step. I add the new business role ID and I uncheck the restrictions box. We need to handle the restrictions differently for our restricted auditor role, so just copying the existing restrictions doesn't help. Okay, so next we should check on the assigned business catalogs. Here's the next important step. Like I pointed out a moment ago, the external tax auditor has a set of permissions, and the restricted auditor that we're setting up has a different set of permissions. This set of permissions is what allows you to restrict the data by time frame. So I need to remove all of the business catalogs from this role except for these 4. The 3 masking catalogs and the master data business partner display catalog. These are the 4 catalogs that the restricted auditor needs. Any more or any fewer, and it will not work as intended. And now it's time to assign a business user. For now, to show the differences between the standard view and the restricted view, I need to make sure that everything here is set to unrestricted. Now I can save, and then log in as the user that I just assigned. Okay, now I'm logged in as the external auditor user that we're creating, and I'll open the audit journal back up. A quick glance at the compact journal tells me that I can see everything in this fiscal year. No restrictions on that at all. Now, let's say I need to restrict the auditor to journal entries made in May, so period 005. I need my administrator to go back into Maintain Business Roles and pull up our restricted external auditor user. We'll edit this role and select Maintain Restrictions. This time, under Write Read Value Help, we select Restricted, but leave everything else under this category untouched. Now, under Read Value Help, we again select Restricted, then tick the Restrictions and Values box, and then select Unrestricted Access. Now we need to make one more change. We have to add a time frame restriction to the key date. I'll select the pencil icon to open the edit screen. Set a time frame restriction from May 1st through May 31st. Then go back and save. And now, when I log in as the restricted external auditor and open the audit journal, I only see the information for May, period 005. And that's how that works. We've seen how to add the external tax audit role to your business partners to enable data redaction, and we've seen the 4 business catalogs that need to be assigned to your restricted auditor roles to enable the time frame restriction. One last important note. Even though we showed this as 2 discrete steps, you need to make sure to perform both steps before assigning the restricted auditor user to your external tax auditor. This ensures that both the data redaction and the time frame restrictions will work properly, protecting the data that you need to have protected while enabling the auditor to perform their tasks as they need to.